Sara tajba minna u ftit ħors jibda prime time tal-lejla, ser niftaħ il-ġimma ma' imprenditur żagħżugħ John Winfield. John Winfield snin ilu kellu viżjoni li għal ħafna Maltin dak iż-żmien kienet il-bot minn dak li huma mdorrijin bih. Però din il-viżjoni hija l-istil ta' ħajja li kulħadd jixtieq isegwi illum il-ġurnata. John huwa persuna motivata, persuna pożittiva. Niltaqa' ma' John Winfield minn hawn ftit ieħor pa' hemmhekk.
Prime Time. Et jiġi mossal lilkom grazzi għal
Solpadeine Soluble.
Flexis Fortify, għas-saħħa kompluta tal-ġogi tiegħek.
Alla Cucina at Ferrara Casa.
You got told
Tarona.
at Continental Cars.
Colliers Greek yogurt.
Bridgepoint, Tone in Casa. Exclusively available at Dino Fino Homes.
Oh, mattress collection.
Sara tajba nilqakom għal prime time illum it-15 ta' frar. Teknikament qegħdin eżattament f'nofs ix-xahar ta' frar għalkemm peress li x-xahar ta' frar huwa qasir, ovvjament in-nofs issa biżnieħ bi ftit ġranet. Ser niftaħ il-ġimgħa ta' prime time flimkien ma' imprenditur żagħżugħ. Imprenditur li snin ilu kellu viżjoni li kienet kompletament differenti mill-mod tal-ħsieb ta' ħafna Maltin, però llum il-ġurnata din il-viżjoni hija l-istil ta' ħajja li ħafna minna nixtiequ insegwu. Nilqa' miegħi lil John Winfield. Hello, John.
Hi,
how are you?
Good, I'm great, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Obviously, I'll be leading the conversation in English today because John is not Maltese. Nitkellem bl-Inglis illum għax John mhuwiex Malti. John, I need some details to fill up some procedures, like to fill up our document.
Sure.
Name and surname, please.
John Winfield.
John Winfield. Old school.
Old school.
Yes,
rules over here.
yes. Lack of funds. Date of birth?
0507 1982.
1982. So that makes you a Cancer, no?
That makes me a Cancer and 38 years old.
A Cancer. For Cancer, it is renowned that Cancer people are very hardworking and loyal. You
Agreed.
agree? You agree. Where were you born, John?
I was born in Boston, England.
Boston, England. That's north of London, right?
Exactly, north of London on the East Coast.
Currently residing?
Currently resided in Slima.
Slima. Profession?
Master of Juices.
Juices master. John, obviously, when I see you and when most people see you, all we think of are juices, smoothies, healthy food.
Yeah.
But was this always your way of living, or was there a change in your life at some point?
I mean, from a young age, it was always the way I was brought up. You know, my mother taught me how to juice and make smoothies. This was way back when it was very unpopular at the time. So I always was brought up living a healthy life. But it was something very much I grew into as I kind of travelled around the world.
Back in your childhood, like a staple smoothie at the Winfield household?
Ooh, that would, I mean, it was a classic back then. There's no fancy ingredients like there are today. So it was just classic orange and banana and strawberry. Classic, simple, very nice.
John, you're a business graduate.
Yeah.
Your first job right after university?
Right after I graduated, I worked for BMW GB in the UK.
Very corporate.
I was very, very, very corporate for me. I was working in the sales and marketing department.
Completely different from
Completely
your
department, but I knew there was something else.
But did you
in me.
fit in, like, in that culture?
No, it wasn't my thing, you know. So I imagine, you know, when I had to breach the conversation with my parents about wanting to try something else, graduated, proper job, and then I want to go travelling around the world.
You were traveling, you've been to Australia, and
yes.
when you were in Australia, your juicing talents were attracting quite a lot of attention.
Yeah, that's when that's when the eureka light bulb moment was during that trip, where I was in a hostel and I'd actually broken my foot on a construction job because I worked many different jobs whilst I was traveling to earn money. And I was in a hostel at the time, and there were a couple of Spanish brothers. They had quite severe drinking habits, and they always used to be hungover in the morning. And I used to stay making smoothies for everybody that had a hangover. So because they were hungover and I was making them juices, together they started calling me Dr. Juice because they were from Spain.
Because you were healing.
I
and
was
obviously
healing,
helping them to
spiking them
recover.
with some superfoods from the health shop next door. And that's when it started, yeah.
John, what made you move to Malta, but?
So my mother's Maltese, so I'm half Maltese. And whilst I had this idea, they'd moved to Malta to retire, even though I think they work harder now than they ever did when they were back in England. And I came over here to start my,
You had a very clear vision of what you wanted and what you wanted to offer to the Maltese people. But the very first days when you started sharing your ideas, a lot of people were...
Yeah, I mean, at the time, this was, 2000, 2005, so there was nothing like it in Malta. The healthy food movement was not here. And juice bars and smoothies, they didn't exist. So when I'm trying to explain to my family and so on the concept, it was a little bit wacky. No one had ever seen one before at the time,
So I'm not mistaken, and I wouldn't be wrong if I say that you've experienced a whole culture change on our island.
Most definitely. I mean, I was there from the very beginning when, in terms of fast on-the-go food, it was pastizzi and Coca-Cola. Now, there's a time and a place for everything. But I think what I was most passionate about was offering a choice. And that's definitely where I started in those years. And then obviously, I've seen the market just grow and grow and grow and grow. And obviously, there's much more operators like us today. Supermarkets are well stocked with lots of different healthy alternatives. And it's just, it's great to see that happening in Malta. Yeah.
The Koliosh Greek yogurt has a natural, gentle and creamy taste. It is a high-protein, refreshing snack. Koliosh Authentic Greek Yogurt.
John, besides being a very successful entrepreneur, you're also a DJ.
Yes, I am, yes.
How did it come about?
That's the Winfield thing, My father is a DJ, and it's just something sort of I learned when I was growing up. And then when I was at university, I just got really into it. So music is definitely my second passion,
One of the most rewarding moments in DJing for you is when different Winfield generations are playing back to back.
That's right. So when you've got my father, you've got me, and now my 8-year-old son, Jack, coming up, also on the decks himself.
So your eldest is 8 years old and the
Jack,
youngest?
And Alex is 5, yeah.
From a father's perspective, how difficult is it or how hard is it to attract kids to eat healthy?
So it is extremely difficult to get kids to eat healthy, and my children are no different at all. So it's all about kind of engaging them with colours and textures that they like, because obviously these days food can be so full of sugar, kids can get quite addicted to it. So obviously, when you put in funny textures in the mouth that aren't colourful, aren't in nice packaging, and aren't full of sugar, to them it's just a choice of, well, I prefer this instead of this. They don't quite understand why they should eat healthy, so it's very difficult.
But John, as you said before, more than anything, like you have a way of living, a lifestyle, a culture. So your kids are growing up in this way of living.
Of course.
And how you followed in your parents' footsteps, most probably, obviously, they will be part of this culture, no?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fortunately, there's much more options out there today than there were before, but there's so many things out on the shelves that are so appealing to kids.
John, back to business.
Yes.
What is the thing which stresses you most in running this business?
It's definitely the people element, okay? So we're a very big team. They're my biggest treasure. It's all of our juicinators. We've been together for very many years. And, it's communicating the vision and together working with all the struggles and kind of getting everybody on board on the same vision, which is, again, the biggest struggle, but the biggest reward, for sure.
John, you're a young, motivated, positive, energetic person. I'm more than sure that you always have new ideas, new projects coming up. Like, do you have something brewing up at the moment?
Always. There's always something brewing.
And what can you share with us about this?
We're doing something very big this year. It's something that's been growing out of our new motto of powering up. But I can't tell you much about that yet. But I can tell you that it's never been done before in Malta, and it's going to be big.
How long do we have to wait for this?
I think you're going to have to wait a few more months.
All right.
until I
Before
can let-
June?
Something around June time, May, June time.
All right.
All right.
So before closing off for today,
Yeah.
you have to promise that you'll be back once you have more details and you can share
that's a
more
promise.
details.
I will be
so
back.
you'll be back here to give us full details about
I
this.
will be back, and it's going to be big. You're going to love
John,
it.
thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
me this evening. We have some small gifts for you just to say thank you for being here with us.
Yeah.
Valda, our partners are offering products for you. I mean, you're a person that you're all the time speaking and you're all the time delegating with people. Valda are amazing. And also thanks to Fior de Vita, we have a nice selection of different variations of cheddar cheese, which obviously I'm more than sure that you know how to combine them with different ingredients.
Yes,
Thank you so much
Thank
and
you.
good evening.
Thank you.
Cheers. Lilkom il-telespettaturi ħanħeġġiġkom biex teqpaw hemmhekk, ħammorru għal waqfa żejra ta' reklami kif niġu lura ser ikompli prime time. Teqpaw hemmhekk.
Prime Time qed jiġi mossal lilkom b'mod esklusiv grazzi għal
Solpadeine Soluble.
Flexis Fortify. Għas-saħħa kompluta tal-ġogi tiegħek.
Nilqakom lura hawnhekk qabel ma nagħlaq il-programm infakkarkom li aħna flimkien ma' Purina ProPlan jekk għandkom kelb id-dar li għandu sena jew inqas qegħdin intukom iċ-ċans li terpu 3 xhur ikel għalih. Iva smajtu tajjeb 3 xhur ikel Purina ProPlan biex tipparteċipaw f'din il-kompetizzjoni tridu tibatunna ritratt tal-kelb tagħkom waqt li qiegħed jieħu banju. Ġifieri d-darba li jmiss li tuħ banju kunu ċerti li żommu l-mobile viċin tagħkom toħdulu ritratt u tibatuhu li permezz ta' messaġġ privat fuq il-paġna ta' Facebook tiegħi u imbonnici.tv u dak ir-ritratt jista' jrebbaħkom 3 xhur ikel għall-kelb tagħkom. Illum grazzi għall-Awtorità tal-Ippjanar ħammurru fil-lokalità sabiħa tal-Mosta u ser nitkellmu dwar statwa partikolari li hemm fil-Mosta u kurżitajiet dwarha. Jekk kellna nitkellmu b'mod ġenerali dwar l-istatwi li nsibu fl-irħula u fl-bliet Maltin, missirietna kienu jagħmlu dawn l-istatwi ovvjament biex juru devozzjoni lejn il-qaddisin li kienu iqimu. Dawn l-istatwi narawhom l-aktar fil-partijiet antiki tal-irħula ta' pajjiżna. Xi wħud minn dawn l-istatwi għandhom ukoll plakka ta' indulġenza. Din kien ikollha fiha kitba li kienet tistieden il-kull min ikun għaddej minn l-akwati biex jieqaf quddiem l-istatwa u ovvjament jitlob talba lil qaddis. Illum sejrin nitkellmu dwar l-istatwa tal-familja Mqazza fil-Mosta. L-istatwa tal-familja Mqazza fil-Mosta hija minquxa fil-ġebla. Taħt din l-istatwa hemm plakka tal-indulġenza li ġib is-sena 1946. Il-plakka kienet maqsuma minn nofs. Il-metall imsaddat jidher li kien l-ikbar kawża ta' ħsara u l-elementi kienu qegħdin jesponu din l-istatwa għall-iktar deteriorazzjoni. Il-ġebla li fiha hija minquxa l-istatwa kienet tħamġet sew u skorċa sewda kienet trabbiet fuqha. Iż-żmien u l-elementi tan-natura kienu ħallew impatt qawwi fuq din l-istatwa imnaqxa fil-ġebel. Fl-2018 l-Awtorità tal-Ippjanar ħarġet il-permess meħtieġ biex din l-istatwa setgħu jsiru fuqha xogħlijiet ta' restawr. F'April 2019, id-Development Planning Fund fih dan l-Awtorità tal-Ippjanar iffinanzja proġett biex din l-istatwa flimkien ma' 3 oħra, mod totali 4 statwi, fil-lokalità tal-Mosta jiġu restawrati. Grazzi għad-Development Planning Fund, il-Kunsill Lokali tal-Mosta ibbenefika mill-valur ta' 14,000 euro sabiex setgħu jiġu restawrati b'mod totali 4 statwi li jinsabu f'din il-lokalità. Dik kienet l-informazzjoni u ftit kurzitajiet li kellna għalikom grazzi għall-Awtorità tal-Ippjanar dwar statwa li tinsab fil-Mosta. Jiena ma fadal li xejn ngħidilkom ħlif grazzi tal-li kontu miegħi nagħmel l-appuntament tiegħi għal magħkom għal għada fit-8:15 ta' filgħaxija l-edizzjoni ta' Prime Time, però ser niltaqgħu fl-4:15 ta' war nofsinhar għall-edizzjoni ta' preview. Għada fit-8:15 ta' filgħaxija il-mistidna tiegħi se tkun il-preżentatriċi Claudia Calleja, preżentatriċi u sportiva li sfortunatament dan is-sajf u s-su li għadda kella inċidenti kraħ bir-rota niltaqgħu ma' Claudia għada fit-8:15. Saħħa.
Prime Time qed jiġi mossal lilkom grazzi għal
Solpadeine Soluble.
Flexis Fortify. Għas-saħħa kompluta tal-ġogi tiegħek.
Alla Cucina at Ferrara Casa.
You got told.
Tarona.
At Continental Cars.
Coliosh Greek yogurt.
Bridgepoint. Tone in Casa. Exclusively available at Dino Fino Homes.
Mattress Collection.
Prime Time jirringrazzja lil
Jennifer Demek, the makeup artist.
Logo Express.
Mac Photography.
Eva Gardner.
Privé Hairdressing. Team Meechin. Nutrition and personal training.